everybody. Welcome. Welcome. Okuma Wednesday, Bill Varney Wednesday. We're bringing the great Bill Varney back. He's been gone for a while. I've been gone for a while. We all been gone, but we're back. We're here, and we're going to be bringing Bill in, and we're going to be talking everything surf fishing today. And we got all kinds of cool stuff to talk about. But first, let's thank our sponsor, Okuma. They've been with me for a very, very long time. I got a great little video to show you a little later in the show from Okuma. And we used all Okuma products when we were up there in Alaska fishing with Larry Hansen, and they stood the test. We caught lots of fish, halibut. We caught tons of fish in the river. We caught lingcod, caught coho salmon, millions of rockfish. It was just the time of our lives, and it was all because of all that great Okuma products that we had on the boat. So thank you very much, Okuma, for everything you do for your saltwater guide and all of our members. So we'll check out that little video here in a minute. And then, gang, we'll try to answer your questions here as we bring Bill up on the show. As many questions as you can. We'll be talking about Bill's game plans that come out every Thursday on the website. We'll be talking about all kinds of cool stuff that is, there's some phenomenal things going on in the surf fishing world right now. So without any, we got a lot to talk about. Let's just get him on here. Come on, Bill. Welcome.
Hey, Dave. Let's get started. It's good to see you back, buddy.
Thank you. It's good to be home. I got to go fishing again next week, back up in Adolfo's Lopez Mateos. Poor me. But for now, here we are.
Good to be here. Good to be here and good to see you.
So can you believe that catch Al had yesterday on the dock?
You know, we were talking about that before we came on the air here, and of course, what are we talking about? What have we been talking about all summer? Which is so weird that we're talking about stripers all the time. It's like we live in, on the Delta up in San Francisco. Striper fishing has been phenomenal. And here's this fish. I guess Al is hopefully going to come on and tell us what they're using for bait and what time of night it was and stuff. But here's a couple things to remember about those stripers real quick. One is that that's a 24-hour-a-day fish. That's a fish that bites in the morning. It bites at noon. It bites in the afternoon. It bites at midnight. So you can fish for them all day long. And the other thing, Dave, that I told you earlier was, I cover the coast from San Luis Obispo to the Mexican border, or all the way down to Cabo for that matter. And one of my anglers up in San Luis Obispo called me yesterday, and he said the day before yesterday, he caught his 62nd striper of the summer up there. So it's amazing. They're going to take over the beach. And I think next year we're going to have maybe more striper reports than Corbina reports.
Isn't that's so funny to even think about that? You've been in the surfing fishing thing for a long, long time. Have you seen? I mean, we heard about it in the old days. They used to come up the San Juan Creek and all that stuff, but it was all tall tales. I never thought it really happened. I guess it really happened, huh?
Well, I think back then, it happened occasionally, let's say. Like when I think back as a kid, I can't remember more than just a couple of times. Stripers, they were always at Dockweiler, Bologna Creek, Delray in that zone, never anywhere else. In the past, like 3 or 4 years, they've really spread out. In the past year, there's just been tons of them. And what's really interesting is Mark Wish was telling me the other day that the thousands and thousands of fingerling stripers that were put into Huntington Harbor and Newport Harbor are a different, they're the same species, but a different variety of stripers than the ones guys are catching now. So it really makes you wonder, did they all come down from the Delta through the San Francisco Harbor, out under the bridge and swim all the way to Mexico? It's possible they swim 35 miles a day, but to think of the prolific number that's out there right now that we've been catching along the coast, and as you know, Mexican border all the way north to Oregon, it's really quite amazing.
No, it's the weirdest thing. You can target them. Like, I don't know where Al is. I sent him a message. He was supposed to come on here, but he's getting busy. He's leaving for Baja tomorrow. But he was saying that they caught that at the dock. They pulled the bait out of their bait receiver, hooked it on because they fished Corvina there at the dock in the afternoon after their charters. He had a charter yesterday. he was driving home. His deckhand called him right as he got home and threw that picture up and said, "Look what I just caught on the dock." And there was 2 of them fighting over the bait. And that's a nice fish. That is a big striper.
And striper are very good eating fish. They're delicious fish. Yeah, that's like a 30-inch fish. That's a beautiful fish.
And that
Look how
guy's
healthy
from back
that thing
east,
is.
so he knew right away when it was eating his bait what it was. He could see it right there. The corvina were thick. It was swimming around with all the corvina in the harbor. It was pretty bizarre.
Maybe you thought it was a corvina. You never know.
And then our buddy caught this yesterday down here in Cabo. Look, what the hell is that thing?
That bluefin trevally. You know, the only other place I've seen a picture of one of those was from, I think it was the Marshall Islands. So catching that just about 12 miles north of where you live, that is an amazing fish right out of the surf.
That is a beautiful fish. And yeah, Wesley was pretty stoked to get it. I read all about it on his Instagram page last night, and then you sent me this picture. That is a beautiful fish.
It really is. And like, if you get a chance, check out cabosurfcaster.com, his website, and look at some of the pictures of the fish that he catches on the Pacific side there, just above Cabo. Just some incredibly beautiful big fish. Anybody'd be happy with catching something like that from the surf.
Oh, yeah. That's for damn sure. So you believe that the stripers are going to take over this fish?
I do. I think that, you know, I'm a little bit concerned about it, to be honest with you. I do think that maybe as early as next summer, we're going to see so many striper in the count that you might say, wow, you know, it's easier to catch a striper than a corvina. So I think that's possible. But what concerns me to some extent is that, of course, stripers were introduced here from the East Coast. They're a lot like grunion in a sense. They're very unusual fish. They live in the Atlantic Ocean, the Pacific Ocean. They live in lakes. You know, they transit from freshwater to saltwater. They're very strong fish, and it worries me to some extent that they might go into competition with all of the inshore fish, anything from a calico bass to a perch, in eating their food, especially if they're, you know, we don't know the size of their biomass and it explodes. And to think that you go back like 3 years ago and there was 15 of them that people caught in a summer, and today there's 15 people catching a day, it is a bit concerning that they might be too much. And we really do wish that the Fish and Wildlife Commission can spend some money for some science on it. I don't think we're going to see it, but it'd be great to do that so we have some idea what's going on.
Our buddy Josh Blay says they even catch stripers in Iowa.
I see that.
So,
and here in Colorado, they breed them to make wipers, and they have them in the lakes here. So they're an amazing fish. They're really prolific. They're a great game fish. They're very tasty. It's one of the better fish to keep and eat. But yeah, who knows what is going on with them. And it is a bit concerning that they might take over the inshore trough area.
Well, they're like a vacuum cleaner as far as eating goes, right? They'll
exactly. And that may be why that one was caught last night, is because they will often go along rock jetties, pilings, pier areas, and they will actually be right on the rocks in a few inches of water, fish as big as 50 pounds, just sucking the crabs and limpets and things right off the rocks. They will eat everything. Like people will send me reports of stripers over the years, and I'll always ask them, what'd you catch it on? They'll say strip of squid, a mussel, a lucky craft, a battle star, a crocodile, cut anchovy, sidewinder crab. I mean, you name it. You throw a hot dog out there from the 99-cent store, you'll probably get one.
Yeah, too bad there's no more 99-cent stores, but but yeah, no, I know what you mean. That's probably one of the biggest fears would be that they're going to eat everything, but we can't really talk about that because we don't want to get banned. Everything's good, though. Everything's good, everybody. Everything's just wonderful. Life is good. It's great having all these regulations and all these closures are the best thing that could happen to the world. So we're only going to be positive. I don't want to get banned anymore. So everything's beautiful. Woohoo! Yeah. How cool is that? Everything's great today. So we need to talk more about your bitchin' game plans, guys like Jason Cutter and Matt Ryan and all the people that use your game plans on a weekly basis. We need to talk about that today. That is something that I think not enough people are taking advantage of. And now that you do it every week on our website, yoursaltwaterguide.com, for a small fee, gang, you can be part of the community, sharing all your tricks that you've learned from Bill and all the things you're doing. I mean, Jason Cutter and Matt Ryan are super active, but that's about it. Now we just signed up that new gentleman you had the phone call with the other day. I think
Sean.
things are going to start to happen, but I think more people, you need to get involved because we're going into the fall. It's going to be super good surf fishing. We get a little more wave movement, get a little more of that stirred up water. What do you think?
Well, you know, it's going to be good throughout the winter. It's always maybe you have the biggest variety in the summer, but when you're looking at the winter, it's good surf fishing all winter long. And of course, the winter at the beach, like there's nothing better than that. It's warm down there. There's usually light or no wind, and there's nobody down there. It's a beautiful time to be down there looking at the water and watching the birds and the whales and everything. So that's all good. Fishing is all good. But, you know, on our section on your saltwater guide, we not only have in-depth videos about how to do things, we not only have dozens of articles about everything from catching bait, free bait, to rigging and how to find fish on the beach, and you name it. It's all there. But in addition to all that, when you sign up, I will personally call you on the phone. And, you know, Dave, I'm not just calling to say hello and introduce myself. The first thing I do after introducing myself is I'm going to ask you, what beach do you like going surf fishing on? What equipment do you use? What can I do to make you a better angler on the beach? And I am going to tune you in to the spots that you go fishing at. So not only will you have more fun, but you'll be a much more productive angler. And I guarantee you, after going through the videos, the articles, getting help from me personally, you're really going to kill it. And as time goes on, you'll just get better and better and better.
Yeah, it definitely shrinks the curve down. And one of my favorite things, Bill, over the years of doing this is that phone call. When I make that phone call and they answer the phone and it's me, not that I'm anything special, but it blows their minds when they find out that I called them. And I know the same thing happens when you call them. They're like, no way, Bill Varney's calling me?
That happens often. It's kind of weird, you know, because I was not popular in high school. I know that you weren't either. And for people look up to us because of our knowledge, but all of the knowledge that you and I have obtained, it's not from a book. It wasn't from looking at a video. It wasn't from a few days ago. It's information that we gained a lifetime. And we were really, really lucky to have people that were our mentors when we were growing up. In your case, starting with your dad and going down the line. In my case, my own father, and then Fred Oakley, the greatest surf angler of all times. We learned so much from them. So we've taken all of this knowledge, we've tried to get it in one place. We can get as much as we can there. But you know, Dave, it's a lot like driving a car. Like when I'm learning to drive a car, I could read about it in a book. I could watch somebody else drive. But until I get behind the wheel and I actually get out there and do it, I really don't know what it's about. So that's what we're about at Your Saltwater Guide, is we're going to give you all of the book knowledge, all of the video knowledge that you need. And then in my case, help you right down on the sand to become a better angler.
And that's all we all want. We just want that personal, you know, me personally, having someone that would actually call me and help me with whatever I'm trying to accomplish, that would be incredible. There is no websites that you even can find who the owner is, let alone have a conversation with them. So that separates us from everybody else. But if you guys want the numbers of the owners of the other fishing websites that you pay money to, just give me a call. I got everyone's number. Let's see how that call goes. Let's see how they do. I bet you they're not going to give you that personal touch like Bill does. I'm just trying to be honest, gang. I know I'm trying to be funny and trying to be honest. Yeah, Dave Burris, they're back at it. Don't worry. We know it's kind of sad, but we talked about it on our Zoom meeting. And what I've decided to do, gang, in order to not get in trouble anymore on social media, we're just going to do Zoom meeting once a month where we can all come in and we can sit down and we can have real open dialogue talking about the real things that are happening to us as fishermen on the planet Earth. And I'm sorry that we don't live in an area where we can actually talk out loud in public anymore, but that's where we're at now, gang. So you just have to bear with us. Make sure you're on our mailing list. We'll send out the Zoom meeting every month. Bill and I had a lot to say the other night on the Zoom meeting, which brought a lot out to people that don't really know what's going on, but we cannot talk about it on an open forum anymore. It's not financially feasible for me. This is the only way I have to make a living. So we've brought it down. Life is great. When you see us here, nothing's better than the way that everything's going is just awesome and everything's happy, happy, happy. And we're going to portray happiness every single day. It's all happy. If you want to follow us and get those Zoom meetings and be a part of it and see what's really going on, just make sure we got your email address, and we're going to have another Zoom meeting here in the next couple of weeks, which are going to be great. And it's going to be fun, and we're going to get the word out. But there's the QR code right there. If you want to become part of our website, or if you want to get Bill's weekly game plans, or Captain Al or Captain Justin, sign up to the website. Or personally give Bill a phone call or give me a phone call. We'll walk you through it. First of all, we don't ever want you guys to feel like we're here to rip you off. That's not what we're here for. I'll give you back every penny. I have many, many times. There's many people watching here that decided at some point they didn't want to be part of my website. That's fine. I give you back your money. I don't care. I don't care. I'm sponsored by the biggest names in the industry. I'm going to be okay. I don't want anybody to walk around going, "You're Saltwater Guide." I just hate all that information. It sucks to have the personalness, and I don't want to do it anymore. And I understand. I give you back your money. There's a lot of people, Bill, that love to suck at fishing. So if they get on our website and they get all that personal information from you and I, and then they go out there and they catch a bunch of fish, and then they're pissed because they caught all those fish and they want to cancel right away. I give you back all your money. I got no problem with that.
Well, that makes a lot of sense, and it's really hard to get all the good information that you need. And another nice thing is, like, the members do it with you all the time, is that they take what they learn from you, they go out and go fishing, and then they report back to you. And what's good about that is it allows not only them, but you too, to hone your skills in on actually becoming better at what you're doing out there, instead of just like hoping you're doing the right thing. I mean, I can't tell you how many times I went out on my own boat and tried to find fish, and either was successful or unsuccessful. And most of the time when I was successful, honestly, didn't really know why. So it's a good way to learn and then be able to have a sounding board to go back to refine your skills.
Yeah, and just the confidence that seeing everybody posting what they caught on the days you went fishing and you weren't able to put the puzzle together, and you come home and you go, "Oh, I should have listened to what Bill said because Jason Cutter knocked the hell out of him. I just tried to do it my way that day." And so the community is incredible. Devin Cruz asked you a question there.
Yeah.
Do you want
This is a really good question. Let me get a prop.
Okay.
Now, here's a couple things to remember. So the question was, we haven't talked about when and when not to leave a hook in a surf fish, or offshore for that matter. And I'll let Dave cover the offshore. But when it comes to surf fish, here's a couple things to remember. And this really is a great tip that will help you become a better angler at the beach. One is that when surf fish eat, so we're talking about perch, corbina, spotfin croaker, yellowfin croaker, those surf fish, they inhale their food, they crush it in the back of their throat, and then they spit it out and they eat the individual pieces. Not like a halibut, a big halibut, for example, that will just inhale the fish, whatever sardine or whatever, live right down their throat. They'll always crush it in their throat and they'll spit it out and they'll eat the individual pieces. So when you're surf fishing, you always want to be tight to your sinker, no slack in your line. And the second you feel a pull on your line or a bite, you want to lift your rod up and reel down and see if you have the fish. If you leave your rod down, even though you're tight to your sinker, and you say, I'm just going to let it bite like a trout 2 or 3 times, so I know the hook is down its throat, it's going to be way down its throat or not in its throat at all. And when you go to set the hook, you'll have either missing the fish or you'll end up gut hooking the fish. So because so many of these surf fish we let go, and we don't want to, try to take our pliers and get the hook out of it, I just cut the line off as short as I possibly can, and I leave the hook in the fish. Whether the fish is a 6-inch perch or a 6-pound spot fin, same way both times. Now, what kind of hook do I use? So when you look at fishing hooks, if I was to use a hook that is an anodized hook, so that would be like, let's say red on the outside or green or some color that it's anodized, or I would use a chromed hook, those hooks will stay in the fish for anywhere as long as 1 or 2 months before they rust out and fall out of the fish. So I don't use those hooks. Instead, I use these hooks, which it's one of my favorite hooks, the Gamakatsu split shot drop shot hook, the 50409. And these are black steel hooks. They're not anodized. They're just straight steel. And so what will happen is if I leave one of these hooks in the fish, within 2 or 3 days, it will completely rust out and be gone. So what you want to do is, even though hooks can be expensive, is you want to go as far down on your line as you can, cut the line off, just throw the fish back. And as long as you use these non-anodized steel hooks, like Gamakatsu makes them, they're also made by Owner hooks. Owner makes the Mosquito Light hook, which is a very good hook. They will just rust out in a couple days. You'll be fine.
Right. That's the thing I talk about the most, is the bronze or the black hooks are super important to use. Now you said something about the chrome hooks, the nickel plated hooks. Mm-hmm. Those are the chrome hooks. 90% of those don't ever rust out because unless it's put together with poor quality, that nickel is not coming out of that fish. So that's when I'm up on stage doing shows and I get asked the hook question all the time. If your hook isn't black or bronze, there's a chance that it's got some type of plating on it that's not going to allow it to disintegrate. You take those Gamakatsu hooks that Bill has, and I've done this with a lot of clients, put them in a paper cup of water and just let it set in your house for a few days and come back to it. And I've seen where in 3 or 4 days, you can stir it. The hook will be laying there. You stir the water and it turns into rust. It just, the whole cup turns brown or black. If that's what they were designed for. That's what they're for. That's to save the fish's life. So like Bill said, cut it off as close as you can, but you don't want to kill the fish. You don't want to kill it if you're throwing it back. So that's a big deal. Let me show you this video real quick. This has a lot to do with surf fishing. Bill loves this reel. John talks about it. It's going to be a good video. Watch this.
Hey guys, this is John Bretz with Okuma Fishing Tackle. What I have here is one of the most exciting introductions of the year, the new X Series spinning reel, our flagship spinning reel. And what's amazing about this is Okuma was able to build a reel that's the best of both worlds. You got a tournament bass reel as well as an inshore spinning reel. So both freshwater and saltwater applications, 2,500, 3,000, 4,000 sizing, starting at 7 ounces. Super lightweight, but what's nice about it is it's very rigid. So you want to use it for inshore. It's a lightweight and rigid aluminum body and aluminum side plates. To keep it lightweight, we have our cyclonic flow rotor, which is injected out of C40X. So again, very lightweight, very corrosion resistant. As everybody knows, you want a good drag system. This is equipped with our carbonite drag system. The 2,500 and 3,000 output 22 pounds of max drag. When you get to the 4,000, it outputs 24 pounds of max drag. These are 6.2 to 1 gear ratios, so when you turn that handle, you're picking up a lot of line with every turn. This is accomplished by a machined aluminum, CNC cut AL70 aluminum drive gear. That aluminum drive gear is also anodized, so again, perfect for both fresh and saltwater applications. One of the great features that we have in this is what we call hydroblock body. So these are a set of water seals that prevent water intrusion. So that's going to be a good complement for both freshwater and saltwater applications. The other great thing is you have the machined aluminum handle that can be put on the left or right hand. It threads directly into the drive gear. It's a really thin profile, so lightweight but super strong. The advantage of this for both fresh and saltwater anglers is that when you pull back, there's no back play at all. One is that helps from the one-way roller bearing, but also the screw-in design helps eliminate any of that back play tolerance. Another amazing part of this reel for you inshore anglers is that you'll notice on the bottom there's no on-off selector for the anti-reverse. Why did we do that? That's another source for water to intrude into the reel. So we left that out. The majority of freshwater anglers aren't back and reeling these days, so this is a great addition to this reel that's going to make it really durable for both freshwater and saltwater applications. And the other thing that's really nice is it's a one-piece seamless bail, so there's no area for braided line to hang up in those small little groove connections. This is one-piece connection all the way around. This is an 11 bearing drive reel, so you can expect super smooth performance, super durable, long life performance out of this reel. It starts at a $219 retail for the 2500 size. If you want to find out more details on the new X Series spinning reel, check it out at okumafishingusa.com.
What an incredible reel, right, Bill? That thing.
That is such a great reel. You know, I've been using it. I've had it now for about a month, I think. And I haven't used it in the surf, but I'm using it freshwater fishing. And provided you put a limber, soft monofilament on it, I literally can cast like a 1/16 of an ounce twice as far as the, I'm not going to say who it is. They're a big company that starts with an S, as the same size reel by this other company. Really an excellent reel. And we caught about a 6-pound rainbow on it 2 weeks ago. So really put it to the test. It worked perfectly.
No, that reel is incredible. And the way that it's designed to keep all the water out, that's going to help you tremendously in the surf to keep that salt or that sand out of your reel. Even though Bill and I tell you all the time, don't drop it in the sand, it happens. So that reel all around, just a go-to phenomenal reel. The lightweight, it's so light. When I was on iCast and John put it in my hand, it's like actually holding like a pencil. It doesn't weigh anything. You don't even know it's in your hand. So check that out, gang. The QR code's up there on the screen. Go over to Shop Okuma Fishing Products and check that reel out and all the other phenomenal products we talk about all the time on our show. We show you really cool products. We bring John Bretza in every once in a while when he's not busy. And so Okuma stands behind your saltwater guide. They've been a sponsor of me for a very long time. So check it all out. You won't be disappointed, I promise you. So
now, Dave, we have so many questions.
Yes, we do.
I don't know where to start, but let me start answering some of these before they disappear on my screen. That's a great, before I get to that, I want to kind of finish up with hooks real quickly. Okay. So as I said, this is one of the hooks I really like, the Gamakatsu split shot drop shot hook, the Mosquito Light. So you've got the Mosquito, and then you've got the Mosquito Light, which is even a thinner wire hook, which works great for the surf. And then somebody asked about ghost shrimp hooks. Is the first hook I showed a ghost shrimp hook. You hook it a certain way, but generally I use this hook. This is the Gamakatsu Shiner hook. These are also known as Kale hooks. And let's take another look at those and how they're different from one another. So this is a hook I use for grubs and for small baits. I need an assistant. And so this is the look at that is it's very small and hound is, and the other it's the Kale owner or whatever, you want a shape. You never want to have a hook that is an offset hook, because
Bill, your internet's hanging up. Try to get off and come back on. Your internet's hanging up. Gang, this is my good buddy, Bo. Bo's a war hero. Bo, I took fishing on War Heroes on Water. Aloha, Bo. Thank you for your service. I hope you enjoyed your time with me out on the boat during War Heroes on Water. Everybody here, thank you from all of us at your Saltwater Guide, Bo. Thank you very much for your service. I really appreciate you. I'm glad we became friends. I'm glad you watch my podcast now. You didn't even know it existed. Now you get to see it every day and see Marley and everything. So thank you very much for your service. I really appreciate you, Bo. And I come to love you, man. So thank you for being on the boat with me for a few days and not killing me. I really appreciate that. And we got a lot of questions. Bill's trying to get back on right now. I see him over there. I don't see any video, but I see some. Yeah, the screen is black, Bill. We got no video, buddy. Nothing. Try to get all the way out and come all the way back in. Close down everything. Close down the computer. Close down everything and try to start over again. Now we got 3 Bill Varneys open over here. You got to close down everything. Yep, close it all down, Billy boy. Close it all down. Hey, gang, while we're waiting, I want to show you something. One other thing really, really cool. Hold on a second. Let me see if I can find this video. It's pretty spectacular. You guys, have you checked out the new docuseries by Michael Folks in the history of sport fishing? I'm going to show you just a minute or so of it here. You want to check this out. It's better than anything on Netflix right now.
I'm Michael Folks, and thank you for taking a look at this free preview from the history of sport fishing. A lifetime in the making, this series showcases how the sport has woven itself into the very fabric of America's soul. Man has fished since the beginning of time. Through the ages, innovative men and women have transformed what was once an act of survival into the sport that it is today, enjoyed by millions throughout the world. I hope you enjoy this preview and will join us for the rest of this amazing journey as we celebrate the history of sport fishing.
All right, gang, I think we got Bill back. Let's see. Bill? No. I ain't got you. We got nothing. You're still dead. Dead in the water, Bill. You're frozen up. There, let's see. Trying to get you on here. I don't know where you are. No. I don't know. Here, watch this for a few more minutes.
This is the history of sport fishing. Chapter 3, In Search of Giants. The earliest days of big game offshore fishing had begun in the late 1800s. The first documented taking of a fish weighing over 100 pounds on a rod and reel was a tarpon caught off the west coast of Florida by William H. Wood in 1885.
All right, Bill Varney, there
Woo!
you are.
My
Hey,
goodness.
You're back.
My goodness. So
Yeah, isn't the internet fun?
it was fun. I have no idea what was going on there. I could see myself backstage, but I couldn't get on.
Right.
So anyway, back to talking about hooks real quickly here. So We want a perfectly J-shaped hook, no offset from the eye. So a lot of times you have an offset on a hook where it looks like they take a pair of pliers on one side and on the other, and they twist it so the eye is offset. In surf fishing, you never want that. You always want to have a perfect J-shaped hook. If you don't, your bait will spin underwater as it makes it back to shore. You won't catch anything big. So these Gamakatsu hooks, these owner hooks, these are the ones that we like to use when we're surf fishing for perch, corbina, things like that. When I'm fishing with a ghost shrimp, I'm going to use this hook. That's the shiner hook, or it's known as a kale hook. And what makes it different is there's a big gap between the tip of the hook and the side of the hook, which allows you to feed it down the inside of the ghost shrimp and pop it out between the legs where you've got the strongest part of the ghost shrimp, and you can give it a nice hard cast. When you become a member of the site, you'll be able to go on and see a video about how to correctly, and for a lot of people, for the first time ever, how to correctly hook and fish ghost shrimp. So those are the different styles of hooks we use. And of course, we always use these black, non-anodized, non-nickel plated hooks so that they rust out if we leave them in the fish.
And then Jason Cutter has a question about the water temperature. Here's something people need to understand, and Bill's going to talk about it in a minute. I just want to throw this out there for all of us offshore fishermen, all of us from Southern California. Bill and I were old enough to know that we have historically, we've seen some, we really haven't seen anything, but historically the water temperature in Southern California in the summertime historically is 65 to 67 degrees. When we had an El Nino or we have some unbelievable occurrence of a hurricane or something, the water would get up to 72, 73. But 80-degree water, you guys have gotten used to that. That's not Southern California. What we're going through right now is how it's supposed to be. That's why bass fishing so good, bonita fishing so good, barracuda fishing so good, and surf fishing so good is because we're back to normal temperatures, Jason. But go ahead, Bill, address what he was talking about.
You're absolutely right, Dave. And so what we've seen this year is, remember how the water warmed up slowly and then it went above that. It was in this low 70 range in San Diego, a little bit around 70 in Orange County, around 68 in Santa Barbara. We know that this La Nina is coming. So in the last week or so, we've seen the water temperature in San Diego go down by about 5 degrees. We're in the normal category of where the right temperature should be. I think this month in October, we're going to see another warm water push up here, but we're also going to see a cooler water push down from the Aleutian Islands. And those are going to kind of come together around Point Conception. So it looks like over this month, we're going to have some moderated temperatures on water, but it should be somewhere between about 62 and 67 degrees from San Diego to Santa Barbara. And that's going to make for some great surf fishing and some great offshore fishing this month because we're going to have more stability in the water temperature. There's a couple of cyclones down. One is finished and one is right in the middle of it right now down off of New Zealand. It's about 6,000 miles from Southern California. That's going to produce surf starting on Sunday, really throughout the month. We're looking for that to actually grow and be a little bit bigger around the middle of the month. So those south swells, they push that warm water up from the south. I think we're going to see a little bit more of that starting next week. And then, as Dave knows, there is a huge tropical storm that has formed off the coast of Veracruz, Mexico right now. They're afraid it might be a direct hit on Cabo. We don't know. We'll have to see how it comes together in the next 4 or 5 days or so. But if that becomes a hurricane and that stays offshore of Cabo San Lucas, so west of Cabo San Lucas, that could send the largest swells of the summer up to Southern California and push even more warm water this way.
Yeah, that would help out tremendously. So our buddy Brian wanted to know, is it good to surf fish next to the river mouth?
Yeah, and look, Brian writes on there, after the rain. Now, I've thought about this a lot, and this is what's really interesting. Like traditionally for those striper, so we're talking striper in particular, a lot of other fish Corbina, spotfin, yellowfin croaker, most perch, they put their nose down in the sand when there's a rain and there's some turbidity in the water and maybe too much fresh water joining the water. On the other hand, because striper live in both fresh and salt water, traditionally, if you went back 10 years, 15, 20 years ago, you'd find that an area, the Bologna Creek, where fresh water would come out of the city of Los Angeles, I use that in quotes, and then make its way into the ocean. Right on that edge, you'd find a lot of striper in that area. That is still true, whether it's up in the Delta in San Francisco Bay, or it's down at Del Rey, or you're looking at waters that are coming off the hills in San Diego and into the estuaries and bays. All of those areas have a tendency to attract stripers. So over the years, I've thought about that, like, why is that? And my theory on that is that as fresh water meets salt water, many of the microbiotic organisms in the salt water that are living die because the salinity becomes too low for them. And as a result of that, on the very edge of that, where that more salt water meets the fresh water, you're going to find bait fish and smelt, maybe even grunion, eating some of those dead zooplankton and other things that are along that very edge. And then the striper come into that area and feed in and out of that brackish water. And I really believe that's the reason why, is because fresh water comes down, it kills off a certain area, almost like a wall of zooplankton and other small biotic organisms, marine organisms. And then on that edge, bait fish eat that, and then the striper come in to finish them off.
All right, we got two things. We got the great Al Clowers finally joining us, Bill, so you and him can talk about that fish. But other than that, Okuma is, Dave Brown's here, and he's threw out this phenomenal discount. I've never seen this before. Gang, if you head over to Okuma Fishing USA, all one word, okumafishingusa.com, he's going to give everybody that uses the code YSGA or YSG apparel. Sorry, I'm trying to read. I'm not a good reader. Apparel 40. Upon checkout, you're going to get 40% off Okuma apparel, like this shirt, hats, jackets, sweatshirts, 40% off. That's insane, gang. Go over there and get it right now. Grab that. Next time we do this, we'll have a QR code for you. But yeah, words are very hard for me, Dave Brown. You know, I got my 9th grade education. I'm trying to read. I needed Kelly to come in here and read for me, or Bill Varney could probably read that a little better. I'm not even allowed to send out emails without Kelly proofing them first. Mine are like 40 lines long, one sentence. So okumafishingusa.com and use the code YSG apparel 40 upon checkout to get 40% off your Okuma apparel needs. That's incredible, gang. Go over there and check it out. I think I got the QR code here, and I'll throw that up in a few minutes. Let me pull this down. Captain Al Clowers, welcome to the show.
Hey, what's up, guys? Sorry for being late. I running all around trying to get ready for that Baja trip, and I looked at the clock. I'm like, oh, man, time goes quick.
But tell Bill Varney and all of our people about what happened here with this big whopper fish. What is that?
Striped bass. So at our slip, we have a bait cage that we keep our excess bait in. And over the last 4 years or so, once the water gets warm, you can walk up to that area like you're walking to the boat and look in the water and see 3 or 4 corvinas staring at that thing. It's pretty wild, right? And we call them our pets, you know. But so yesterday we came in. I went home, and before I got home, I got a text from Ryan, and he was over there pitching some baits to the corvina, and he said that he pitched the bait in the water, and the corvina, it's pretty cool because they'll come up and you can watch them eat it. You know, it's pretty cool. But he said out of the abyss, down deep, out of the dark water, he watched that striper come right up to the bait and swallow it. And that thing, it's not small, you know, it's not giant, but it's not small. And he wrangled it in between all the boats and everything, because those things like to pull a little bit of drag, you know. So he said it was cool. And I mean, I've been fishing the bay for, I don't know, a couple of years now, and I've never caught one. I tell you what, though, Bill, back in, I'm not exactly sure what year it was, but I was probably about 18 to 21. So late 70s. The Sweetwater channel that goes into OB, there was stripers up like the first bridge, boiling all around in there. So back then I had a little 12-foot car top. As soon as I seen that, man, I went and got my little car topper and slid it down the side of rocks, whether it was legal or illegal. I think it was legal back then. And I started winding around whatever I had, and we couldn't get bit, man. But those things were boiling everywhere. They used to spawn in that channel, and I haven't seen them ever since.
Yeah, you know, it's amazing. We have seen them in the Santa Ana River, over a mile up above the beach.
Wow! Right.
So you know, it's brackish at the very least, if not mostly fresh water that far up.
Right. Well, we know they live in freshwater because they're in all the lakes and the rivers and everything else, you know.
Yeah,
but that was probably. He said there was two of them. They both came up. They both came up, and one ate it before the other one did. But
and what was he using?
Sardine, live sardine.
Live sardine or a dead one?
No, live.
Okay. And live. Just fly lining.
Fly lining, like 15 pound.
Perfect.
When Al comes in the afternoon, when he docks the boat and the people leave, I was there with him. I've seen it. He's got himself a school of orangemouth corvina that they're Al's pets. When the people leave, and they don't come out until the people leave, when they leave, Al will walk over there. He'll literally open the bait receiver, and they're all of a sudden, here they come. They hear the lid open, and they're just swimming around this boat. It's crazy.
Right. Yeah, they're crazy about that stuff. Yeah. And a lot of times when we pull the plug on the bait tank on the boat, all those scales go ripping through there. And if they have any kind of appetite, they're right there, dude. He said he caught like 12 corvina yesterday, right back to back, and then those stripers. Yeah.
Crazy, right? That's just crazy.
Such good fishing. I mean, Captain Al, it has everything to do with like having a clue or knowing what you do. People often are like, oh, it's such bad fishing. It's no good. The fish are small. Man, when you learn the techniques, like I can go down there every day and have a good day. It really makes a big difference.
Right. Sometimes the conditions get really, 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 really bad, and you still catch a few, but your numbers are down. But for the most part, we're going to catch a few. Like yesterday, I did a bait trip in the afternoon, and the wind was howling. I mean, howling, and because there was that evection fog over Point Loma was pushing all that wind, and we're supposed to go down and fish halibut, but I'm like, dude, I don't want to get covered by that fog. Let's just stay in the bay. So we did, and we got a few bites, but I mean, it's brutal when the wind's blowing out of the west hard, and you got a 5-foot tide underneath you, and people aren't very energetic to make the right kind of cast, casting with the wind to bring the bait with the tide, But yeah, they had fun though. It was cool. But for the most part, there's a lot of cool stuff in that bay,
Absolutely.
I took my Ranger out. Your saltwater guide member Joe back there's a good buddy of mine now. He lives on. He has a house in Coronado Cays, and I took my 3-year-old grandkid with me. He's a little stud, man. He's all over it. But I took him back there. I didn't have much to do that day, and it was glassy. I'm like, dude, let's go to the bay. Come on. So we went over there, and I went and threw that spook. I don't know, 1,500 cast probably. And we got one small one, had some chasers, but we didn't get any big ones. Those things, there's big populations of them in the marinas. I can tell you that.
Absolutely. And I think, a lot of these fish, we've only scratched the surface.
Right.
And over time, I think fishing techniques have improved, and that's why
Right.
we're catching so many now. I think I can't say all of them, like the orange mouth corvina and stuff, have always been here, but they've been here for a while in the bonefish, and people are
Right.
just now figuring it out.
Right. Right. Well, I tell you what, there ain't many people targeting them because I went back there. I think it was a Tuesday or something like that, a weekday, and there was nobody as far as you could see the whole time. One kayak lady was back there coming out of the caves, but it's paradise back there. It's not all about I mean, I can catch whatever you want to go catch a 200-pounder, Dorado, yellowtail, rock cod. I can do all that stuff, but it's magical to get in that bay on a weekday when it's glassy and get out and pump a little shrimp if you want and go catch whatever you want to catch.
I think what we're going to do, Al, I think when you get back from Baja, the next time you tell me that it's the day, I think Bill and I will go with you, and we're going to have that new shrimp gun.
All right.
From Promar. We're going to go down there. We're going to make so many cool videos, the three of us fishing on the Shigari. It's going to be incredible. It'll be so much fun. Hey, Jason, I'm glad you got that jacket, gang. The discount over at Okuma is working. If you may be putting it in wrong or something, but it's worth it. Jason Cutter just bought that foul weather jacket. And if you guys saw the videos I posted of me and Mike Lewis and Ronnie fishing in the river there in Alaska, Mike's wearing that foul weather jacket because I wanted him to have it on. So while I'm videoing him fly fishing with it, you can see how bitchin' that jacket is. So I'm glad you took advantage of that. $75 or $78 for that jacket. That's incredible, Jason. So you guys should all jump over there. We're going to go a little bit over today, gang, because now we got Captain Al here with Bill. These two guys make incredible game plans for you. The game plans on the website are second to none. No one does what we're doing. So we give you, Captain Al covers the bays so well to make sure that you're going to be able to catch fish. A lot of us don't have a lot of money to go spend $5 or $6 grand on a super go fast boat to go catch a giant bluefin, but we do have the money to fish in the bay, and we do have the money to go surf fishing. If you guys listen to these two men right here, their game plans, and they're here with us right now, and they'll answer your questions. You can ask them right now, is it even worth becoming a member of the website? What do you get? Well, you get to talk to Captain Al. You get to talk to Bill. You get to talk to them and be personal and they're not hiding the ball. We're at a point now in our career, the three of us are ancient. Who'd have ever thought we would be the old guys in the industry, Bill? But we're the three old guys now. But we treat it like little kids. Bill gets as excited as I do about hooking a fish, and then Captain Al, he runs around like a little kid on the boat when they're biting. So our game plans are second to none. I promise you that, gang. You're members of other websites. You're not really taking advantage of what's going on. Bill, talk a little bit about how your game plan is so bitchin' compared to anything else out there.
Well, what's really important about the game plans is first of all, you want to know what's biting out there. So if there's a huge swell, let's say at the beach, and the water's turned over and there's a red tide and you shouldn't be going down there because there's an event this weekend, it's good to know that in advance. But more importantly than that is all of the different factors that are involved in being successful at the beach. You want to know about the swell. You want to know about the water temperature. You want to know about the weather conditions. You want to know where the fish are biting, and you want to know what they're biting, what kind of baits they're biting, and how to rig for those baits. So those are all things that you learn directly from me on a weekly basis. And then you can augment all that information with videos and articles on the website, which will help you tune in all of those individual things and allow you to go out on the sand and be successful. I mean, my book has now been out for, I think it's about 13 years or so. It has sold more than, which is amazing, 55,000 copies. And over the years at all the shows, I've had so many people come up to me and said things like, I read your book and now I know all the things I've been doing wrong. I sucked at surf fishing. Now I'm really good at it. And I'm telling you, and you guys know this because you've taken guys, Al, you've taken guys out on your boat. Same with you, Dave, that there are people who come back to you a year later, and I'm almost embarrassed to say it, that they're a better surf fisherman now than I am. They're so good at it now. They show me these pictures. I can't believe these pictures. They catch fish bigger than I've ever caught. They use techniques I never thought of. It's a community that helps you to not only become good on your own, but become better with others.
Right. Hey, back not too many years ago, to go listen to you talk or talk to you live, you had to go to a show or you had to go to a seminar. And now it's just like, you know, for a nominal fee, you join the site and you get all of that. And you can pick up the phone when you got questions, you know?
Absolutely. And you can call us right on the phone. And like I said, in my case for surf fishing, I'm going to ask you, what equipment do you use? What can I do to make you better on your equipment? What tackle do you use? What beach do you fish at? What area do you like? What are you looking to catch? I can tune you in on all of those things. And of course, just like Captain Al and Dave and me, we get dozens of fish reports every single week from people out on the water. So I could live on Mars right now, and I would still get all of this information that augments what I know already to help everybody out there be a better surf angler.
Absolutely. All the way from Colorado. No problem.
No problem. Times have changed, I'll tell you.
Yeah, they have. And
hey, I'll tell you what, I might know how to fish if I could get all this information when I was just starting. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
It's phenomenal. It's crazy, you know. I have guys call me pre-trip, you know, a couple of days before the trip. Hey, I'm going down here. What do you think? You know, I'm going over here. And if I haven't been there, you know, like La Jolla, if I haven't been up there, I tell them call Pablo. But I still kind of know what's going on up there as well, you know.
Exactly. And I've had many people, happens all the time. I had one yesterday who calls me and said, hey, Bill, I'm going to Mexico and I'm going in this location. What should I use? What kind of fish are there? I'm going to Hawaii. Just yesterday, day before yesterday, I'm going to Costa Rica. What should I use? Well, not only can I help the person go into Costa Rica about what to catch down there and where to fish, but I got a buddy who lives down there that they're going to go hang out with. So we have a tremendous amount to offer here that you'll never find at a tackle shop or just wandering out by the dock.
Right. Yeah. Dave's done a great job. He can't read and he can't spell, but look at him now. Huh?
Something I always say, and this is perfect, what you guys just were talking about, is when I first started this hoop net thing in 2006, there was no information out there. I would have I'd have paid any amount of money to learn what you get now at your saltwater guide, just to get that knowledge so that when I was trying to figure this out and people were paying me to take a hoop net and I didn't know nothing about it, oh my gosh, I would have bent over backwards and paid whatever just to get the knowledge that you get over at my website now. And it comes from, just like Bill said, a plethora of years of doing this for a living, where we had to produce. People came to Bill's seminars and he had to produce fish, and people paid Captain Al for the last 30 years to fish with him. We had to produce. So now we're taking that and we're making it available to all of you. Now, my good friend John Milton wants to know, are you planning any seminars in Carpinteria soon?
You know, I love Carpinteria. This is the time of year where Carpinteria is at its very best. We were unable to put a seminar clinic together there this year because Dave Wilson, who's the head warden there at Carpinteria State Beach, has been out sick for a while. So unfortunately, he is the one who approves these permits, and we were unable to get one. But the good news is that everybody who joins your saltwater guide and my section next spring, and maybe in the middle of this winter, if we get enough people, we will have a clinic just for you right on the beach. So next spring, we're going to start up in earnest. We'll have them all next summer long. But in addition to those that we're just going to have open for the public, we'll have some for everybody on your saltwater guide, and only for the folks on your saltwater guide. And man, there is no way of learning to be a better surf angler than by somebody helping you right on the beach. Like, I can take you to a seminar at a tackle shop and we can talk about surf fishing, but there's nothing better than doing it right on the sand. And once again, it's like your dad put you in the car and your dad driving, and then he pulls over to the curb and he looks at you and he says, "Hey, Billy, it's time for you to take over now." Boy, was I nervous, but man, did I learn how to drive that car in 10 minutes. That's what it's all about. Learn right on the beach.
Yeah, there's no better way than that, you know. You know, you got all the cool gear that works for this technique and that technique, you know, instead of wondering and waiting and going in tackle shops and grabbing them. You know, I'm the kind of guy that I don't like to buy any tackle, especially fishing rods, unless I can put them in my hand, you know. But they have the opportunity to see all that stuff when they show up, all the baits, the way you hook stuff. It's monumental.
Absolutely. And Captain Al, I can't tell you, like, over the years, how many tackle shops I've gone to, and somebody will come in and say, "Oh, what kind of rod and reel do I use for the surf? Or what kind of hooks do I use?" And they always sell them the wrong thing because they just don't have enough knowledge about what's needed in the surf. And man, you can go from a zero to a freaking hero overnight if you get the right equipment and the right technique and you get pointed in the right direction.
Right. I mean, personally, I don't know a whole lot about the surf. My little brother's a surf fisher. He lives in IB. He gets all giddy up about all that surf stuff. But, you know, I just take the Carolina rig down there and wing it around with that little 1-inch grub or them sandworms or whatever. But yeah,
that's it. It's
if
simple.
I ever start
Very
doing it,
stuff.
I need to call you. That's for sure.
There's a good question from John for Bill or Al. One of the two of you go shrimp guru dudes.
I would say yes. You know, as Al knows, like, ghost shrimp occur in an area where you have a muddy, sandy bottom. They don't occur in rocks, and they don't occur in all sand, and they don't occur in all mud because they can't dig into it. So they get a sandy, muddy mix, and you'll find those intertidal areas a lot of times inside of harbors, in the Santa Ana River, Bologna Creek, inside the Long Beach Harbor, in the very back of the harbor there. That's where all those are going to be. When you go and you're digging around in the Santa Ana River, just the odor itself from when you turn over rocks or anything in there, you know, it's like a sewage treatment plant. So I would say, yeah, unless they poured a bunch of bleach in there, you probably find them just about anywhere you find a sand mud combination.
Correct. They're all through Mission Bay and San Diego Bay and Ocean Beach. Some of the areas are Mission Bay stuff is really more sand than dirt than mud. San Diego Bay stuff is more mud than sand. And if you can find them in the sand, and pump them right at the water's edge, it makes your pumping a lot more user friendly. That mud is tough to keep the suction on the pump. But when I get them in San Diego Bay, we get them at it's probably 65% mud, you know. It's a little tough pumping, so you got to have water mixed in, you know.
Yes. Yeah, that's one thing about ghost shrimp, as you know, Alice, like, you can't go to, so let's say that there's a sandbar that's underwater at high tide that's got ghost shrimp on it. And so when low tide comes, it exposes the sand. And then, of course, around the little sand island, let's say there's water lapping at the edges of it. You can't go, it's difficult to go into the middle of it where the sand is moist, but there's not water over it, and go over a hole and suck it up, because you got two basic problems. One is zero viscosity. There's just not enough water in the sand in order to suck it up in the pump. But more importantly, and I know Alice noticed this too, is that so the sand's up here, when that water goes down underneath the sand, those ghost shrimp slide right down with the water. So they might be, instead of 2 inches below the surface, they might be a foot below the surface. So you want to pump those ghost shrimp right on the edge of where the water is lapping up onto the sand, or maybe knee deep or less into the water itself.
Right. Yeah. If you're knee deep, you got to take a little goldfish net
Exactly.
But you can just wing them out there and they'll swim out of the cloud and you just net them up.
Exactly. I mean, luckily they're not real good swimmers, so you got a shot at them with your hand, but
Right.
much easier with the little minnow net. And you just and you know, there's some spots I go to where there used to be commercial guys up there, and what they would do is they'd be like in the knee deep water, and then they'd suck a big thing of mud and just squirt it right in the water, and then there'd be 4 or 5 ghost shrimp, and like you said, they just net them real quick and put them in their thing. So.
Yeah, sometimes, you know, always carry a net with your ghost shrimp because sometimes you might not be able to do it at the optimal tide, you know.
Mm-hmm.
I'll tell you, it's not easy. I did it with Al, and I'm like, here, give me that. Let me do it. And I did it like 10 or 12 times, and I didn't catch any. And Al grabs it, and he goes, here, just there, pick them up. I'm like, what do you see that I don't see, gang? So there's a knack to this, and that's how the website comes into play, to teach you all these little tricks that Bill and Al have learned over time. I promise you, if you've never got ghost shrimp before and you go down there and try to do it on your own without some guidance, you're going to think there are no ghost shrimp. I stood right next to Al, and I thought I was paying attention to what he was doing, Bill, and I'll be go to heck if, like I said, I pulled that thing 12 times and caught none. Handed it back to him. He walked right to where I was standing and pulled up, got the biggest one of the trip. It's just all those little things that matter, and everything matters. John Stanley has a great question, Bill, and this is a cool deal. Is surf fishing open year round?
That's a great question, John. And by the way, John, thanks for writing in. And I really enjoyed your video of the Orange Man Parade. And there's been like so many of those, and I would love to go to one of those. So anyway, hopefully that will come up one day, and I'll be able to sit on the back of the boat with a flag with you. Surf fishing is good all year round. Really, the slowest time of year for surf fishing is kind of the middle of March into April, when it's really windy and the water's all turned over. It's all funky and it's like changing between winter and summer. But all of the rest of the year is good. So, for example, when we get into May, you're going to have corbina and perch, and you're going to have the beginning of the bite for halibut who are spawning at that time of year. And then as we move on through the summer, you've got all the grunion runs and all the sand crabs. So you got everything going. You got the spotfin, the yellowfin, the striper, the perch, the corbina, the buttermouth perch, all of those opali. They're all going over the summer period of time. And then when we get to about October 1st, right around now, all of the sand crabs will disappear. There's very few on the beach now. There's still a few in a few spots, but in general, the billions of them that were there were gone. And the bigger surf fish will go inside the bays. So the corbina, the spotfin, the yellowfin, the corvina, all of those will find their way inside the bay this time of year as the winter comes around, because the water's warmer in there. There's food in there. They can spawn in there. But still along the beach, you have all the perch. And in the winter, you've got these really big perch. I've begun to see them in the last week or so. So between now and really the beginning or the middle of March, you're going to see big surf perch like this one we're looking at now, all along the beach. So there's, and then in the winter, of course, you got a shot at spotfin. They're always out there in the winter. There's an occasional winter corbina. And the thing about corbina in the winter is they're very difficult to target, for example, in the winter. But if you do catch one, more times than not, they're some of the biggest ones of the year are out there. So summertime, wintertime, all year long is really good surf fishing. The only exception would be in those really windy months. And it's funny, you know, I used to think about that surf fishing like, oh, look at my pictures and be like, wow, from March 15th through April 15th, it's really been slow. And then I sat down one day and thought to myself, you know, when I was a kid, we always, me and all the neighbors, we always used to go across the street to this golf course and fly kites from March 15th to April 15th because it was so windy.
What
and
is
that's
that?
a walleye surf perch.
What is that?
That's a walleye surf perch. And that's a small one. They generally grow to maybe about 12 inches would be about the biggest one I've ever seen. And I was looking at the California state records years ago, thinking about whether I wanted to set a record or whether I'd set one based on what I caught and stuff. There's no current record for walleye because they'll only consider a fish 2 pounds or greater. And I really don't think there's one that's bigger than probably a pound or a pound and a half. So that is a state record that is not set and will be quite a while before it actually happens.
Okay, the reason I pulled that up, Bill, is because I've caught these before and they are giving birth when I'm catching them. I want to know, because I never asked you this question, how are some fish having live babies and other fish only lay eggs? What's going on?
Well, I'm not a scientist. I don't have the exact answer for that, but many surf perch. So this is a walleye surf perch, of course, barred surf perch. They have live birth. So they inside their body when they're pregnant, they have little tiny fish in there, baby perch. And then when the time is right or they get stressed, all of those fish are birthed and just pushed out right into the water. That's why when you're surf fishing and you use lures that are like a small crocodile, a Castmaster, even grubs, they resemble those little fry that come out of perch, and everything, including perch, eat those. So that is a very unusual thing. And the scientists at the Fish and Game, Fish and Wildlife love to study them because live birth is very unusual in an ocean environment.
Yeah, it's the craziest thing you've ever seen, but I'm a horrible human. The minute they're coming out of there, I'm hooking them back on my hook and throwing them back out there. Those things work great for bait, those little baby ones. And that perch, we used to get a lot of them in the bait. We called them 7-Eleven perch. Or is that a different perch?
That's a little bit of a different perch, but very similar in its look. So they've been called shiners, walleyes, 7-Elevens. Those all kind of in the same family. And I think they're they may be in the chub family.
Gang, Cubby Paul's on here. Happy birthday, Cubby. Big 62 yesterday. Took it down, was hanging out, being quiet, wasn't letting anybody know you were around. But we see you now. So happy birthday, Cubby.
Happy birthday, Cubby. You're right on my heels.
Yeah. Now you can start collecting your Social Security. Hell yeah. Matt Ryan's on here. Hey, Matt, has Bill helped you out at all catching fish in the surf? There he is right there. What's up, everybody? Matt spends a lot of time on the website helping us out, always posting cool things. And he uses all your information all the time. I know you and him have had many conversations.
Absolutely. Well, there was a comment there from Devo a couple minutes ago. And of course, Devo, known for De-Evolution from Akron, Ohio, one of my favorite bands back in the days. I don't know if you guys remember them. They were great.
Oh, yeah. We're not people. We are Devo.
We are Devo. That's right. De-Evolution of Man. So he asked me about all the equipment and things behind me. So my store, surffishtackle.com, is where I carry all of the things that you're going to need to fish on the beach. I don't carry anything I don't use. I only carry the things that I use that are productive on the beach. So when you go surf fishing or you have questions about it, or you go to the site and you go, wow, a kale hook or a Gamakatsu hook, or I needed the right rod, or I need the right reel or the right line, you have a place to go to, surffishtackle.com, where you can find that right online, order it, it will come right to your door. And over here, you can see kind of on the side, there's a big pile of these lousy Okuma surf rods. I've got dozens of these SST, a fantastic surf rod. And then they have another model. This just came out in the last, I think, couple of years. And these are their SP model surf rods, which are like 3 ounces. They are super light. So I carry all of the tackle that you're going to need to be surf fishing at the beach. So you don't have to, you can, and I want to encourage you to go to local tackle shops, but at least, on my side, if you look at something, you have a question, you can call me or send me an email, say, hey, what do I need? What size? How many? Makes it much easier for you to get the right thing.
Hey, Bill, I got a question for you.
Yeah.
Hey, if you were going to northern Baja from Santo Tomas to San Quintin, that's the ride we're going on. I don't think I'm going to take a rod, but We pull up on some of the beaches are short with rocks on each side. Short meaning, I don't know, 1,000 yards. And then another beach is for miles down in San Quintin. If I wanted to grab a little spinning rod down there and just pack a couple baits, what would you take?
Well, first of all, that area has very cold water. So San Quintin, south to maybe, I'd say 75 miles.
Right.
That's where the Humboldt Current comes in there. So there's a lot of big perch down there.
Wow.
This time of year, October, November, you can also find, believe it or not, some Corbina down in that zone. A really good setup and a really good bait to use is exactly what you were just talking about. The Carolina rig with a grub on the end of it.
All right.
And just fan casting at 10 o'clock, 12 o'clock, 2
Right,
o'clock.
right.
Just cover the bottom, slowly retrieve to shore. And you don't get a fish in 5 casts. Move down the beach 100 yards and go through the same pattern.
Nice. Right. Yeah, I think I might take an old beat up rod because it's got to go in my dirt car and get all beat up while I'm driving down there. But
yeah, I take like a couple of cast masters, half-ounce cast masters,
right.
Silver and silver or the gold or brass color, and then the grubs, and that's really all you need. But the secret about down there, what works really good down there for the perch, for Corbina, and for calico bass, are garden snails.
Really?
They work exceptionally well down there.
Yeah.
So that's one of the weird things. I don't see you carrying that on your bike, and you won't find them down there, but they were good for bait, I'll tell you.
I know. A grub and a cast master are real easy.
Yeah.
I might have to do that because these guys stop and they all like to have their little cold ones, you know. They get to yakking. I could be over there making some cash, drinking my Pepsi.
That's right. That's right. Yeah, we were on a trip from Long Beach to La Paz, and we'd been out at sea for about 17 days at that point, and we came into San Jose del Cabo, right down the street from Dave there, and tied up the boat there. And the guys went across the street to this restaurant to have beers and get wasted and have a good time. And I just took my rod, just like you said, and I go, hey, you guys, I'm going to go fishing for a little while. And I'm going to go there's like a Mother's Beach right past where all the pong arrows are and they clean fish and stuff. And right off of there is a couple of bait slammers. And I went fishing. I came back to get a beer with those guys and I said, "Did you catch anything?" And I said, "Oh, yeah, look at my camera." I had probably about a 6-pound pompano, probably the biggest I've ever seen, a 35-pound rooster fish, and a beautiful angel ray. And they just couldn't believe it. So that's you, Al. You're like, hey, I'll see you guys for a beer in a few minutes. In the meantime, you're just slaying them on the sand.
I'm going to make it happen, I think.
Yeah, I think you should. And make us some cool videos while you're there for sure. So, gang, tomorrow Bill's game plan comes out. Al's game plan comes out. They usually come out around 4:30 in the afternoon, and they cover everywhere you're thinking about going fishing. Because we have Sunny up at the Channel Islands. We have Justin there in the Orange County, Long Beach area. Then we got Pablo in Mission Bay, and we got Captain Al covering all of San Diego, offshore, onshore, at Coronado Island. We cover everywhere that you want, and we have a customized game plan for each and every person. You won't believe how detailed these game plans are. The only thing that will stop you from catching fish is your ego. The ego always gets in the way because you can't believe that we're actually giving you the information we're giving you. And you get out there, like if you listen to Bill, and then people will get down to the beach. They'll look up and down the beach. They'll see 2 guys fishing down the beach, 1/8 of a mile, and lo and behold, you know where they're going, Bill? They're going to walk right up to those 2 guys. Instead of fishing where you told them to, they're like, no, there's 2 guys over there. Same thing when Al tells you where to go in the Coronados, and you get there and you see 2 sport boats, and you go over there because you want to go see what they're catching. That's the lamest thing you can possibly do. Our game plans are going to, if you want to fish for boats, there's other websites that have those plans for you where you can go where all the boats are, or you can go where all the anglers are. If you want to fish for fish, that's why you want to be a member of our of your saltwater guide, because we're sending you where the fish are, not where the people or the boats are. Big difference.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
I think Al, like it's in general fishing this way, but it's all about conditions.
Right.
It's not about like a spot. It's definitely in surf fishing. It's not always about like, this is the spot. We're going to keep going back to the spot. Everywhere else is bad. It's all about conditions. And when you learn what the conditions are and where to look for them and where they occur, you become a much better angler.
Yeah, I got a conditioned situation. So when it comes to cod, back in the day, I used to think, oh yeah, them reds are they're always there. But that's not true. I pull up on some spots when the conditions aren't right, because I'm still fishing with clients on the boat. I have stuff to check it, and we won't get any bites. And I look at the chart, see what's going on with the tide. I'm like, oh, we'll come back here in 45 minutes and we'll get bit. And no kidding. I mean, I'll go back there when the conditions are right, and we'll get limits. When you couldn't get bit when the conditions were wrong, and that goes for everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, yellow, mainly all the the inshore stuff. The yellowtail, then bluefin down there. They want certain conditions. At the yellowtail at the islands. You got current moving, and they're biting.
Absolutely. That is so true. I mean, Catalina, as you guys know, is such a good example of that. You go there at a slack tide and you can't even see a blue perch. And once that current begins along the island, especially when you have that up current, that current from south to north, it just turns on and it gets incredibly good. And an hour ago, it was terrible. So it's all about conditions and figuring out conditions.
Right. Absolutely.
We got a special shout out, Matt Ryan. It's your anniversary today. Happy anniversary from everybody over here at your Saltwater Guide, and Bill and Al and all of us are wishing you a happy anniversary. Happy anniversary.
Happy anniversary.
Absolutely.
Tim Ogilvy's asking about the 9. Right now, if I went to 9, I'd be dropping down in 500 feet of water fishing cod. You never know. On a normal year, you could go out there one day and there's nothing. This time of year, you go out the next day and there's foamers. But right now, if you're going to the 9, I would be dropping down 500 or 600 feet with an electric reel for cod. There's not much else out there. Maybe a marlin, maybe a stray marlin. I haven't heard any reports in the last week about the marlin out there, but there could be a possible marlin still out there also. I know the water temps are dropping fast, a lot. So,
yeah. Well, we'll talk to Matt and Jeanette. We'll have a conversation with Bill Varney and see what we can do for you. They're lifetime members over on the website. They're just asking if there's anything. Really, gang, for Bill's game plans, it's one-time purchase of $100. So I don't know, you can do much better than that. That's kind of pretty spectacular to get that information every Thursday. So, but we'll have a conversation, you, Jeanette, and Matt, and Bill and I, but everybody out there, really $100. You can't even go to McDonald's for $100 right now for 3 people. You can't. If you can, let us know what McDonald's you're going to, because I'm definitely not going there, but I'll send people over there that want to eat that stuff. But gang, check it out. There's no reason to not be a member. Just the community alone. There's so many people on here that are members but are part of the community, and we share everything on the community with no negativity, which is the best thing I could possibly bring to you, is the lack of negativity. With what's going on in the world today, negative is so thick, but we allow none of it at our website. Nobody's allowed negative. Just like when they try to come on here and they try to get me, and gang, it's so easy. We just block you. I play with you over on Facebook and Instagram. The haters, I play with them. I play with them full speed. Kelly says I play with them too much, but I get them in a lather and they're crying and they're foaming in their mouth and they just want to get me. And it's so hilarious because I'm a public speaker and I'm available. I go do public speaking all the time. And I invite them all to come. Bill, I tell them I leave tickets at the front door for haters of your saltwater guide. And I invite you to come up on this stage in the middle of my seminar and you can beat my ass in front of everybody. It'd be so fun to have that video. Wouldn't it be, bitching, Al, that make that video of guys beating me up? They never seem to show up, though. It's pretty crazy.
Might be the opposite if you're hanging out around me and Justin.
Yeah, it could be. That's why they don't show up, because they're big talkers until they get in front of people, and then they fold up like a beach chair. It's pretty funny. We had a guy send one of my friends part of my podcast yesterday, sent it to him and tried to get him all fired up and get him all mad because I said, Justin and I don't like the electric pullers. We don't like them. We don't like them. We're not into it. We think our members and our clients want to pull the hoop nets. And somebody sent it to one of my friends and he got all wound up this morning because he used an electric puller. I don't care what you do. I really don't care what you do. I only tell you what I like. And if that offends you, then you might be the problem, not me. So think about that. What's offending you, you big baby? Go suck your thumb in the corner. It's just crazy. I just don't get it. I don't understand it. I don't know why people think they need to call me up and tell me they don't like the way I talk. If I didn't like the way I talked, I wouldn't watch me.
It's like my buddy used to say, Dave, the ultimate form of censorship. Close your eyes.
Yeah, change the channel. Could you imagine when we were little kids watching cartoons on Saturday morning and then calling CBS and telling them, hey, I don't like Bugs Bunny today?
Exactly.
Are you kidding?
You know, when I was a lifeguard, I used to work on the beach in Santa Barbara, and the beach adjacent to us was a nude beach. And people would come back to our headquarters or our tower, and they would complain about people being naked on the beach. And my boss would always tell them the same thing. He'd say, if you decide to walk down there, instead of looking at the sand, look out toward the water. That was it. Simple solution.
It's crazy. And it's gotten way crazier. But the rockfish thing, Tim Ogilvy, you can fish deep now. Yesterday was opening back up the deep water. You can't fish shallow. You can't fish 300 feet or less now. But yeah, like Al said, I'd be hitting that 500-foot stuff, trying to get some of those big reds. Now that you can only keep 10 or 2, now that you can only keep 2, you better make sure they're big ones, 2 big ones. And make sure you got your descending device, gang. We're going to run over this real quick. Fish and Wildlife have hired a whole bunch of new agents, and they're out there thick. And it's going to be like that for the whole month of October with this rockfish opener. Justin talked about it the other day. They're coming on your boat and they're looking at your chart plotter. They're going to see where you were. So pay attention to what you're doing. And then the other thing, that descending device needs to be hooked up and on the rod, ready to go. You can't have it in your drawer. I got that ticket. Lobster, the report card. Oh my gosh, I can't even tell you how many of our people got the report card ticket because they don't listen. Don't try to keep it short. You're not going to get it. You're not going to sneak it through. If it's close, throw it back. It's not worth it. Thousands and thousands of dollars worth of fines. And they're going to start pulling your fishing licenses. That's where they're moving to next. So just be careful out there and understand, if you don't get checked, that would be amazing, because they hired a bunch of new people and they're checking everybody.
Yeah.
And if I could just add to that. I'm sorry, Al. If I could just add to that, Dave, just one thing I learned this year is that the California Department of Fish and Wildlife has an agreement with every state except for the state of Hawaii that if your license is suspended in the state of California or revoked, you will not be able to get a license or fish in any other state of the United States, with the exception of Hawaii. And Hawaii is in the process now of joining this consortium of states. So whatever laws you break in California, if it means that they're going to suspend your license, which they do, they use a point system. And if you have a couple infractions, they could suspend you for 2 years. You won't be able to fish not only California, but any other state in the union.
Crazy. But they got to do something because there's too many poachers now. They got to do something to figure this out. Closing fishing isn't the answer. Closing fishing. So you got anything to add, Al, before we wrap this up? And you're going on vacation. Be safe on that trip down to Baja. You're going into Mexico, right?
Yeah.
It's super scary. I'd be afraid.
Yeah, I'm really scared. I'm really scared.
I'm terrified.
We've been doing this ride for like 17 years. Family.
Oh, it's going to be so fun.
It's all along the coast. We get off the highway right at Santo Tomas and take the main road, dirt road into Santo Tomas, and ride all along the coast, hang out at some ranches with some ranchers. It's really cool. First night we stay at Coyote Cal's. It's a little place down there in Irandira. And then from Irandira, we ride all the way to San Quintin, which is like 110 miles.
Yeah, that sounds like a blast.
It's cool. Stopping at beaches and you come up on these big cliffs, looking down at the whole coast. It's really cool. So I got prepping, but the calendar's still on auto book. I got this stuff blocked out for 7 days. I'll only be gone, but you guys want to go on a lobster trip? You want to do an island trip? Whatever you guys want to do, I got you covered. The bay's going to start getting back into play once that offshore stuff starts to mellow out. So, whatever you guys want to do, you can call me at 619-800-3474. And Dave, I sent you a couple informational little quick videos this morning on that lobster bucket chopper.
Yep. Thank you for mentioning that. Look, I think where'd it go? I thought I had it. Yeah, there it is.
That little garden shovel's money because it fits in there perfect. You can take a grinder to it and sharpen it, razor sharp. And
you're going to make those for people if they want them, right?
Yeah, I'll make them. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I tried to load that video and it's loading right now again. I thought I had it to show everybody, but it won't load. It says it's too big. Okay.
Wow.
We'll show you guys on the website. It'll be up on the website right after the show.
All right, I'll get your game plans in first thing in the morning, and I'm out. Baja, headed to Baja with my spinning rod and my dirt car.
Woohoo!
Hey, I'll see you guys later.
Yeah, everybody, thank you very much for watching the show today. Bill Varney and Al, thanks for jumping on here with us. A lot of great information. Everybody's super happy. They're loving this. So thank you both very, very much. I'm glad to be back. And Okuma, thank you for the 40% off apparel this week. That's incredible. That is an absolute incredible. Guys are taking advantage of it. Get over there. If you don't know Mike Lewis, we have plenty of videos of him on our website showing you all the great things that Okuma had to offer. He was wearing the clothes and I was videoing it. It came out great. So everybody at Okuma, thank you for everything you do for us. Bill, Al, Dave Brown. See you all later.
Hey, I got one other thing.
Go.
Hey, when they come on the Riviera, I have $35,000 worth of Okuma gear on my boat.
Yes, you do.
That's if you want to see an 80 wide, if you want to see a 50 wide, if you want to see a 20, a 16, all the way down to the Toseros, all that stuff is on that boat. You want to come and use them, go on a charter. And I can't thank Okuma enough, for hooking me up when I outfitted that boat. And I fish Okuma every day.
Jeanette, that's incredible. Matt Ryan, Jeanette, I'll tell you about. I'm going to call you right after the show. Thank you, Jeanette. That's an awesome, awesome, awesome thing. I'll tell them all about it. All right, everybody. Thank you again very, very much. Have a great day. Turn off the news. They're all lying. And don't forget, we got Heather Smith outdoors with us on Friday. She just wrote a book. It's going to be an incredible show. Tomorrow, I got Larry Hansen and the great Kelly Hansen both on the